Welcome back. You're tuned into Bazaar Morning Call and hope you're having a good morning. For starters, the GIFT Nifty suggesting that the implied opening will be higher by close to around 80 to around 90 points or thereabouts. So that's going to be good. 100 points essentially to kickstart trade. Prakash Diwan, our market expert, joins us on the show. Hi, Prakash. Well, the market seemed to have got its mojo back, and we didn't mention this earlier. But, today marks 5 years of those COVID lows when we visited around 7,500. And boy, oh boy, today we are at 23,000 odd. So the market itself has moved up by close to around, 3x. We have stocks that are in fact are up 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 11,000% as well in these last 5 years. So it's been a big rally. But let's talk about the recent past. We've seen that stocks have done quite well. Any one particular stock that you believe that, still has potential from here on? The last time around, you spoke about Welspun Corp. You'd spoken about Nalco as well. Both of them have bounced off their recent lows. What's on your radar this time around?
Good morning, Nigel. Great to see you back. So I think, the market's kind of very clearly ripening for some sort of value discovery through a sector rotation framework. And if you look at the recent moves, some of the stocks like Interglobe Aviation, which I spoke about while you were away, it's something that's been so resilient even in this entire downfall. And thanks to the softness in crude, thanks to the improvement in pricing power, load factors, whatever have you, and it's kind of bounced back and made new highs. What's going to happen is this is going to continue to other names in the sector, other subsectors within that. So let's say hotels. I think if you ask me one stock that I see as very well poised in terms of fundamentals and the technical demand supply, it's ITC Hotels. It's absolutely a no-brainer because given the asset base, given the kind of revenue build-up that you've seen after, which you potentially will see after it kind of starts reporting its standalone numbers. It's made an amazing move in the recent past, but I think there's much more to come. The ownership levels are far lower than what a large hotel business, the second largest hotel business in India would need. So, once ETF money starts coming back, well, as and when it happens, I'm not sure whether it happens 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, but these are stocks that you need to kind of build on your portfolio. And yeah, you spoke about metals. I think metals is a phenomenal rally in the making. Even ferrous, not just non-ferrous, so the likes of Vedanta, Hindalco, Nalco, even Hindustan Copper for that matter. I mean, it's in the news for some change in leadership, but I think globally the setup seems to be the same. But everybody's waiting for this 2nd April, this thing to go, overhang to go. Once there is clarity, I think things will start looking up on the metal side as well.
Okay, all right. Morning. Good to have you, Prakash, with us. A lot of these construction companies, not just construction EPC, but even other companies, order wins have been coming in. Kalpatru, this morning we're looking at names like NCC, Power Mech, etc. So basically everybody is getting orders, whether you're in road EPC or transmission, etc. What are you most optimistic on? This is also your end of year phenomena, obviously, or people have to finish their spends, adjust their books. But what would you buy, if anything?
Good morning, Sabi. So, you're right. While March end kind of typically seems to be a phase where, a lot of these bundling up happens to meet the deadlines. But remember, the government's spend, as articulated in the budget in Feb, is something which will start coming into effect 1st April onwards. And this is one sector that would probably seem very resilient from a sector perspective. You may not have tariff impacts impacting it so much. You may not have issues related to capital costs given the softening of interest rates. My sense is EPC names, and especially a lot of turnkey EPC, is something which will start making some money for investors. You'll be surprised, while L&T is the poster child of this sector, you have NCC, which is the 2nd largest order book currently available. And the beauty is that they've started diversifying beyond the Telangana, Andhra belt. It's much more wider, much more complex in terms of the orders that they're taking. So, and a great balance sheet to boot. So it's very well poised to take on. Most of the good companies, most of the larger EPC players are. But as a sector, it doesn't give you that kind of a thing, because the moment something goes wrong in terms of capital expenditure, either from the private sector or the government side, or there's some sort of a slowdown or a blip, these companies get impacted the first. So you'll have to be a bit careful selecting that. But I think from the current situation, if I look at NCC, definitely, not just because it's in the news today, But even as I said, it has the second largest order book, fairly juicy orders, good margin profiles. If you aggregate all of that, it definitely does make for a little bit of a presence in the portfolio. But of course, you'll have to see the risk reward that it comes with being an EPC play.
You heard Vivek outline the news around this one. What do you think?
Prashant, irrespective of this news, I think L&T stands to be one of the best beneficiaries of globalization on the infrastructure side. The other thing I just want to add, because we don't have much time, the difference between the L&T of the past and the current and the future L&T is that they can cherry pick orders or contracts where they make very juicy margins, which was never the case in the last decade. So you'll have a very different margin profile emerging out of this 5.5 lakh crore odd book. And that's the beauty, because they're spoiled for choice given their expertise and salience. So definitely something which in the near to or the long term would benefit tremendously in terms of outperforming the broader markets.
Prakash, if you can have those graphics, and by the way, I think you were on closing when I put those numbers up, the bounce, etc. One particular, if you can pull the capital market plate up, KFin Tech and the other ones which have bounced nicely, Novama, etc. Any thoughts on this space? We have the BSE management come up a little later at about 9:40. Will be interesting. That's another one. That's another name where we've seen a fair bit of re-rating, a fair bit of sell-off from the top as well, and now a bit of a bounce. What do you think, Prakash? What's your favorite idea, rather?
Yeah, no, so from that universe, if you look at the broking houses are going to find it extremely difficult to continue growing, and the base effect will start going against them at some point in time. Right? But it's businesses like KFin Tech, CAMS, which continue to kind of, grow as AUMs grow, as new dematerialization comes into picture, and there's a lot of work on the back end. But I like KFin Tech given its propensity to diversify beyond the domestic market. They've made some very good inroads. The new plan that they have, the program that they've launched for Southeast Asian funds is something which could kind of pave the way for a very different revenue stream. So a bit, soft at this point in time. All of them, whether it's broking, whether it's the depositories or the, brokerages or the exchanges itself. But till the NSE IPO happens, Prashant, this is going to be, there's not much of fireworks that you would expect. But I believe that's kind of, getting to be, people are getting excited as progressively steps are being taken towards that particular large event. But till then, I would probably only look at a KFin Tech.
Okay, all right, Prakash Diwan, thank you very much for being with us. It's good to get some of that context and that perspective. We'll chat again soon.